Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. James here, and I'm very excited for this interview because we have the one and the only Joyce. What's going on?
Yeah, glad to be here, James. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we've been very excited about this interview. I was telling you that we were at the gym this morning, some of the coaches, and we're talking about there's one interview we want to get out there. It's Joyce because Joyce, for those of you who obviously don't know yet, you soon will. Joyce has been in the program with us for a few months now, and she has absolutely aced it. Not only coming in
Mm.
completely brand new to the stuff, but actually coming in and getting some insane results in a very short period of time. In fact, having her biggest day ever just the other week. And so we want to touch on a hell of a lot of that, where she was, where she started, some of the lessons she learned along the way, and there is some advice for people like you who are looking to get started as well. But
Yeah.
enough from me. What I would love to know about you, Joyce, is when you got into this world of ecom boss, we started looking into it. Where were you at in life, business, and work? Like
Yeah.
before you jumped in.
Yeah. So for me, long story short, I could go into so much detail, but in 2024 February, I was made redundant. I was in financial services for 12 years before that. So I built up my career quite significantly, and that redundancy just really pushed me into wanting to find my own business because I'd always had one side hustle or another. And I was like, okay, this is really now a good time to go do it. So I spent 2024 trying to figure out which business model like suited me best. I literally have done I published books on Amazon. I did a stint of drop shipping for about a month also last year. I went into digital marketing. I tried to set up my own online operations like agency, and like none of it really stuck. And so 2024 was a mad trial and error for me. And then it got to January 2025, and I was like, right, I think I'm going to go give dropshipping a go because out of all of those models, it felt like dropshipping is the one that I wanted, that suited the lifestyle that I wanted to create for myself. And, as the Instagram gods would have it, I saw one of the ads that you put out there, James, and I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. It's a different way to go about dropshipping. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm keen. Let's do this. So I started in January 10 with you
Okay.
guys.
I love it. So you kind of went out there and over you kind of tasted the rainbow of all the business
Yeah,
models and
yeah.
yeah.
I was like trying every single angle. I'm like, all right, what can I use in terms of like, my professional experience?
Hmm.
What am I interested in? What's the like lifestyle that I want to build? I knew I wanted to build an online business because I wanted to travel, I wanted to have freedom. I wanted to have a product or something that I could scale really easily so that my time wasn't worth my money?
Yes.
So
100%.
those are the things that I was looking for.
Did you find it overwhelming when you were kind of looking out there and seeing all these different business models? Like there's so much out
Hugely overwhelming. Hugely overwhelming. And I'm the type of person that is quite impatient.
there. Hmm.
And we'll touch on this a little bit more in terms of my experience with this program, but hugely impatient. And that's probably the reason why I jumped quite a bit with the different models because I was like, I'll test it for like a couple of months and I'm like, this isn't working. I've got to find something else. And then I'd go and do something and I'm like, this is not working either. And I did that like 4 or 5 times. And um, yeah, like what I've learned from being in this program is one of the things that I've learned from being in this program is honestly patience.
That's
Patience and trusting the process.
That's so good. That's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah,
Yeah.
because there obviously are a lot of people who do obviously have that attitude around get rich quick. It's not,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this 2 months, I'm gonna give it 2 minutes, and if it doesn't work and this whole thing doesn't, I should just stop. I should just give up,
Yeah.
go back to
Yeah.
Netflix. I do admire the fact that you were giving still, even that. I know you were a bit impatient trying a bunch of things, but still 2 months per business model, even if they weren't the things that worked, that's a lot more than most people will try anything for.
Yeah.
Especially without seeing the results. And even when I started out, my biggest two things that I got kind of results with early on back in 2018, 2019 was copywriting, which then led into e-commerce because copywriting does fall
Yeah.
into it. But I tried
Yeah.
affiliate marketing. I looked into a
Yeah.
couple of pyramid schemes and multi-level
Yeah.
marketing stuff I didn't
Yeah.
know better
Everything
about.
was on the
Yeah,
table.
you see everything. But
Yeah.
most people don't really give it any time, let alone 2 months. And so even if you didn't get the results you wanted in those little periods, you still learned a ton of skills, which
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
believe
Generally.
carried into
Yeah.
how fast you're able to take action with us.
100% agree. Like I've learned so much. Like even though I try not to be too hard on myself and look back on 2024, and it was really a trial and testing sort of year for me, as much as like that it involved time and
Yes.
obviously got a redundancy, but my redundancy payout, has its like limited time. So it was um, a trial and testing year, but I did learn a lot, like stuff that I, still input into what I'm doing now. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
And
wasn't
so
a
you did
waste.
you did drop shipping and you tried that, and I'm assuming that was stores and ads and sort of the
I went
typical
straight
model.
into creating a Shopify restaurant, creating a Shopify
You never know.
website. You never know. That could be a business model at one point in later time. Went straight into Shopify, went straight into running ads. And what was really deflating is like I worked so hard over a period of like 3 or 4 weeks doing that because I'd never done that before. So you have to like, so I went into a program, learned how to do it, did it, created all the ads, ran the ads, and I had like one sale in 2 weeks, and that was super deflating. And so that's why when I came across like Ecom Boss and the way that you go about trying to find products, I was like, okay, well, that was actually the thing that didn't work for me. Like, I know I can create a website, I know I can create ads, fine.
Yes,
It was all about trying to find the product to do that on. And that's why I was like, okay, this is the right model for me, as in this is the right process in trying to do drop shipping for me because where I failed before was from a product perspective.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. It's good that you brought that up because there are obviously a lot of people who go out there and they hear about drop shipping through a friend, and they build a store and they spend $3 on ads that didn't work. Or maybe
Yeah.
they did go out there and they joined a big program in Australia, where it may be, and they obviously went out there, put some products up and didn't make money, or they made a little bit, but it wasn't profitable.
Yeah.
Drop shipping as a model is great. It allows you to
Yeah.
sell things you don't have to see, touch, ship, or pay for up front. But the problem with obviously the standard model is that unless you have the skills and the confidence and the money to just throw in ads and test, you're
100%.
going to lose money before we ever make money. And so,
100%.
was there a part of you that was still skeptical about maybe joining another dropshipping program, even if it is a entirely different model, just because you'd had that experience in the past?
No, I mean, I guess my professional background has kind of taught me to, try and test different things. It's like just because it failed in one way doesn't mean it's necessarily like the whole business model failed. And I believe in the dropshipping business model, particularly because that's what really suits my lifestyle. I don't want to hold any inventory. Like people can do that for me. I mean, I might need to create ads, but you can also hire people to do ads. Like it's actually a really simple way to get into e-commerce and do it really successfully. Um, so it was like, all right, I just got to find another way to go do this. I just got to learn from what I did last year, try it again. Like I'm in this for the long haul in terms of I know the life that I want and I'm committed to building it, and it's just trying to find how I can do that,
100%.
you
Yeah.
know?
It's so cool because the whole idea around e-commerce in general is, like you said, the idea around dropshipping e-commerce is amazing. Sell stuff people want online. You don't have to touch, see, manage the products, and all that kind of good stuff. That's everything we talked about. That's the beauty of it. But as we know, the success rate for going out there and doing it the standard way for a beginner is pretty low because it is so difficult.
It
And the
is,
whole idea
yeah.
behind Ecom Boss, for at least people at home who don't know yet, the idea behind it is you want to have all those benefits of running a dropshipping business without all the risk and the complications and the confusion, the frustration of running ads and building stores and stuff like that. And so when we created the system around doing everything we want there, but without spending any money on ads or using those websites, it really unlocked a lot of potential for beginners who were looking to get started without that. And for Joyce, I guess when you jumped in, what was your impression of sort of the program as you kind of went through it? Because we moved very fast, as you saw.
Yeah, so what was really interesting because when I was like, okay, I've sold stuff on Facebook Marketplace before, and you start everybody on Facebook Marketplace, and I think there's genius to that. Th- there's a reason why you do that. And I'm like, okay, I've sold stuff on Facebook Marketplace before, and then you get taught, um, just do 5 product listings a day, and that's it. Don't do any more. Emmett's really strong on that. And I was just like, fuck, 5. Like how? Like I want to move faster than this. I want to move so much faster than this. But then again, it's like, okay, I'm going to lean on the wisdom of people who have been really successful at this, and it's just not Emmett, it's yourself as well. They know the pathway, they know the road. I just have to listen. So for me, and I mean, I touched on earlier, patience is a big thing for this program for me. And it was like, all right, I'm just going to do 5 a day, 5 a day. I'm just going to do that. Just going to stick to that, easy as.
Yes.
And then once you just go and do that and stick at it, you start to slowly see the results. And as somebody who's been through this program for a few months now, like my success didn't come until month 3. Like I started in January. I didn't really start to see money until from Etsy in like March, you know?
Right.
And even then it was like, okay, but it was like, oh, this is like cool. And then April came and I had a really big month in April. So It's just you just have to keep at it, patience, and just keep at it.
Well, that's so good because out of curiosity, how long did it take you to make your first sale?
Okay, yeah, I'm good with dates, but I started out with you guys January 10, and I made my first sale on January 29th. So it
Okay.
took like 2.5 weeks, but it's crazy because at that time you're like, oh my God, I'm answering so many bloody questions. No one is coming back to me. No one is
Yes.
responding, and then all of a sudden you get that one sale,
Yep.
and it just gives you so much faith and hope that this
Yes.
actually, like, obviously it works. I've sold stuff on Marketplace before, but it's a different way of looking at it.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, to be completely honest with you, is we have, and I'm sure there was, I don't say jealousy, everyone's different. But there's obviously like you see, there's a lot of people who come into the program and they make the first sale in 4 days, and they're like, boom,
Oh,
like it happens so
frustrating.
fast for some people, right? And you're there, like I'm working hard, I'm being
I'm
consistent,
grinding.
like I will do 50 listings an hour if I have to, like get me that.
Yeah,
And the
for
funny thing I've
sure.
seen is that it's not always the people who make $1 zillion in their first month that end up having the longevity because sometimes, even if you have to wait a little bit longer, right, it makes you want it more and you get those better habits. And then
100%.
when you get it, it hits even harder. And then you just
Yeah,
have that consistency built up.
yeah,
Some of our best clients who made the most money had a few of the slower starts. And it's not because they were silly, dumb, untalented, unlucky. It was just that was their time. It just
yeah,
took them that amount of time to find that first sale. And
yeah,
so you started
100%.
at the beginning of January, you got your first sale at the end of January. It was March and April it really started to pick up. In February, was that a bit of a
Mm.
slow, gradual climb? Was it still a bit
Really?
in
So in
February
February,
or
I made like, in February, I made like $600.
cool, okay.
All of that was on Facebook.
Okay.
But halfway through February, that's when I started to post stuff on eBay and Etsy. And it was only in March when I started to get sales on Etsy. So even then, like it still took a while for Etsy to come off.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've only made one sale on eBay and I only made that this month. So
Yes. Yes.
you just like my biggest thing is patience. You just got to keep going because you just never know when this stuff just happens, and you just got to trust that it will. But
Yeah.
it's not going to happen if I stopped and gave up halfway through, you know?
100%. 100%. And again, it's one of those ones where, ironically, you're one of our most amazing clients who's so consistent, doing really, really well at the moment. But again, one of the slower starts. And oftentimes people can look at programs and if they didn't make, $1 zillion in the first 2 weeks, it's just another program, it doesn't work, and then they give up and they jump to the next one, they jump to the next one. And before you know it, they're going through 10 different programs, they hate
Yeah.
everything about online business, and then they give up. Right. But the fact that even with you with a bit of slower start, now you're absolutely outperforming a lot of the other clients because you stuck with it. And I think it was
Mm.
April. What did you do in April? Because April was your big month.
Yeah. So January made my first sale. February I made like $600 on Facebook. In March I made $1,600, and all of that was on Etsy.
Beautiful.
And in April I made 5,800.
Beautiful.
April made 5,800 and like 90% of that was through Etsy. And I was like absolutely thrilled.
Yes.
Absolutely thrilled.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, it's amazing. And then it was, as you mentioned earlier, I had like I sold over $2,000 a couple of Fridays ago and I profited like $800 from that.
Sorry, an $800 profit day.
Yeah,
How
$800 profit day.
how did you feel in that moment? I'd love to.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was a big, it was four sales, and two of those sales like were multiple products in the sale, so that obviously helped. But it was just like in my head, I want to make like my next sort of milestone thing is to make $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's basically it, man. Like
Yeah.
it's just like little pebbles going, hey, this is actually really possible.
Yeah.
Just next thing. You just got to reach that next. And then once that's become reality, it's like, all right, this is sick. What's the next milestone? And then,
100%.
you just go for that and then wait for that to become the reality.
It's so good because it's one of those things where, and it happens at every single level. When you hear about a milestone like that, like $800 in a day, or it could be $8,000 a day, whatever it may be, when you
Yeah.
hear it, if you haven't hit it yet, it's always, that'll be nice, but there's not a lot
Yeah.
of motion there because you sort of like
Yeah.
haven't been there. As soon as you hit it and you experience it, you go, oh, it's so doable because I've just done
It's sick.
and then you
Yeah.
look what you've done. It's like, oh, I just did this, this, this. It's very straightforward, right? And
100%.
it
Yeah.
becomes something that can become really normal for you.
Yeah.
Versus if you back in January had talked about $800 in a day, you wouldn't necessarily believe you could do it because you hadn't been there yet.
That's
And so
it.
it really does unlock a lot of self-belief, but also unlocks, like it's just a pretty straightforward process. And
It is. but like it unlocks the whole, like I believed in this business model and it like, and I've, because I believe in this business model because I've seen so many people do it. It's just amazing to just see it out like see it in my life. And I made more in one day than I did the whole month of February. So like it's just that is hectic. That's why I love e-commerce. This is great.
And it
Yeah.
proves you weren't crazy for sticking with it, you know? You're like, I
Yeah.
wasn't crazy. I
Yeah.
knew I was right. That is so good. I love it.
Yeah, that's it. And that's just the best feeling. It's the best feeling.
I think we're cutting in and out. We're gonna push through
Mm.
and power through regardless. But yes, it is the best feeling.
Oh
We
no.
we
Okay,
always
yeah,
talk
push
about
through.
how
Sorry.
no, you're right. The first sale corrupts you. The first $100 day corrupts, first $1,000 day corrupts you. Like in corrupt, I mean like it gets you obsessed with it. You get this bug, and then
Yeah.
working harder becomes really fun, and pushing harder becomes more fun. And you start to set bigger goals for yourself. And I guess for you, like now
Yeah.
that we're pushing even harder, we're working on some other projects as well. Like, what is
Yeah.
your goal by the end of the year? Like, where do you want to be with this stuff?
I've got big goals. Okay, my overall what my next big milestone. We're not talking about doing this like tomorrow because obviously it's not going to happen. But James, I want to make $100 months. I want to make $100 months. No, hundred
On a
thousand
dollar.
dollar months. Oh my gosh, sorry. I want to make $100,000 months. Because
Yes.
in this game I take home about maybe 30,000, like make 30-40% profit margin on that.
Hmm.
But ideally that's my next big milestone. And I know you could get heaps bigger than that, but I'm like, let's work to get to that. And honestly, I don't care whether it takes like a year or 2 years, but at the rate that I'm going, I think it's really achievable in the next 12 or 18 months.
100%.
Um, so that's kind of where I want to be. Like, I want to find a few products that really go off, and I want to be able to, by the end of the year, to answer your question specifically, I want to make enough money to like replace my professional income, and
Yes.
that's like 15K a month, but that's
Yes.
covering like super and tax and all that stuff. But if I can make 15K a month by the end of the year, take it home, like
Yes.
that's a good year.
100%. And the biggest thing again is just once you've had a bit of traction and once you've had some of those bigger days, which is obviously incredible, you start looking at those bigger numbers as just here's how
They're
much I'm
just
making per
numbers.
day, per week, per month, and
Yeah.
eventually it starts to add up. So if you're looking at, say $1 million a year is about $83,000 a month. So if you're looking at 100, it's roughly 4 grand-ish a day. I
Yeah.
fail maths, but I can always do it
Yeah.
to calculate. It's around
Yeah.
4 grand a day in sales. You've already done over 2 grand in sales in a day, right? So you're
Exactly.
already halfway there in terms of being able to go and produce that many sales. Now
Yeah.
it's a case of what do we need to double down on? How do we
Yeah.
scale it? And how do you make
Yeah.
that consistent and predictable? Which
Yeah.
oftentimes at that point, at that kind of spend, obviously, like we want to look into ads and start actually, putting our money where our mouth is. There is more that
Yeah.
goes into it. But ultimately, it's just, hey, let's just do double what we've already done in one day previously and make sure it's more predictable, more consistent. That's really all that
That's
it is,
it.
you
That's
know?
so it. Yeah.
And those sorts of numbers, even when I started out, obviously they don't sound real, they don't feel real, but as soon as you hit it, it becomes the new normal. It is a weird, weird thing. And you only get it once you've been there. And so I'm very excited to see you get there because look, if anyone could do it, it'd be you, Joyce. We know that.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah. I'm banking on myself to do it. I just got to keep trying, got to figure out ways to make it. So yeah,
I
there's
love it.
no failing here. It's just
No,
either you learn from the lesson or you move onwards. So yeah.
that's it. I love it. And I guess now that you're up here, if we could bring it all the way back down to the person who's watching this right now, who is brand new, is thinking about joining, but there's probably also some parts of them who are like, what if this doesn't work? Or what if I don't have enough time? Or what if I don't have enough money? Or what if I try and doesn't work? Like, what advice do you have to somebody who is starting out just like you, who wants to do this, but doesn't have the mindset, the experience you have now?
Oh, okay. Talking to Joyce of before.
What Joyce 1.0?
Joyce 1.0. I just think for me it was like, don't be afraid to do it and back yourself.
Yeah.
Back yourself. Like because things aren't going to go your way. Like they're just not. But if you have the ability to really trust yourself and develop that sort of develop that self-trust that whatever does come your way, you're going to find a way to get through it. Because if you're really committed to building this side hustle or business for yourself, you're going to need to develop that skill set and that confidence and that self-trust in yourself really early on. Because you will I've encountered experiences in these last 4 months where I've just gone, oh oh my God, what do I do now? Particularly bloody Trump and his tariff stuff.
Yep.
Anyway, but it's just like it's just another obstacle. It's just another challenge. And I know that I'm smart enough and willing enough and like resilient enough to go and try and find the answer and make it work. And I'm going to commit to finding that answer, however long it's going to take me. So that would be my advice. Don't don't be scared. It's okay. And back yourself. Really back
100%.
yourself. Yeah.
And bear in mind that all of that starts from you just starting, being
Yeah.
completely underprepared, not being ready, but just jumping in. And that growth that you have where you've gone from someone who's never done this stuff before to having this insane growth arc in just the last few months, right? I like to talk about how people talk about self-development or personal development, and that stuff is really, really good. But one of
Yeah.
the best ways, honestly, to go out there and get personal development or self-development is starting a business.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even when you're working on your business, but your business
Yeah.
is working on you, it's working on your resilience, your
100%.
mindset, your patience, like we talked about. Like
Yeah.
the person you become changes so rapidly because you're putting yourself under this pressure to grow.
Yeah.
Because things are going to go your way, but oftentimes they also won't. And how do
Yeah.
you respond to that? Because that's going to dictate not only the money that you make, right? How fast can you handle them? That's obviously why you have coaches to help you get there. But the other
Yeah.
part of it is who do you become in the process? You know?
Hugely. Hugely. I mean, somebody, one of the many coaches that I had last year when I was trying and testing different things, it was like your business can only move as like the health of your business can only be so to the point where you've inputted into yourself and fed into yourself. Like the health and the development of your business can only go as far as how much you're putting into yourself and developing yourself. And I just find that to be so true. Like my business is not going to be successful if I'm personally not successful. And
Yes.
yeah, that requires discipline,
Yeah.
like confidence, all of that stuff. So yeah.
100%. And as well, as you start to grow, this is one thing that, look, there's a lot of beginners on the channel, but this is something for when you're scaling as you get more advanced, that the more moving parts in your business and the more money you start to make, the more focus needs to be on taking care of yourself. Because
Hmm.
as you start to get lost in that stuff, scaling can be a part where you can make a lot of money, but you
Yeah.
can also start to lose track of your health and your mindset and your relationships.
Yeah.
It really consume you. So while
Yeah.
it's great you're making all this money, you've also to make sure you're eating well, you're training right,
Yeah.
you're spending time outdoors, you're touching
Couldn't
grass,
agree
you're spending
more.
time with people who love you because those things get in the way of people. So in the same
Yeah.
way that, like you said, the work you've done in yourself is a big part of your success so far. You've also got to make sure that we're keeping that going as you start to scale.
Yeah, I really
You know?
love that. Really love that because at the end of the day, for me, my business needs to build my life, the life that I want. And the life that I want is a healthy life, a beautiful life with like relationships being fed and making sure I'm cultivating the right relationships, making sure I have time for the gym, making sure that I have the time to create myself like nutritious meals. My
Yes,
business needs to facilitate that. So I think that's a really good reminder. If I get lost along the way and those things aren't being met, something needs to pull back because at the end of the
100%.
day, that's why I've created my business.
That's so good. That's
Yeah.
so good. If
Yeah.
it, your mindset is impeccable.
No,
Yeah,
thanks.
you're very self-aware. It's so, so good. I'm so excited. We're gonna
Yeah.
crush this. I can't wait to see what we get to the end of the year. And
I
I
can't
guess
wait either. It's gonna be so much fun.
it's been a fun ride so far. We're still getting
Yeah, I
started.
agree.
I guess last thing I'd love to know is for the people who are watching who, again, there is a million and one different minds, different programs around getting to ecom, getting to drop shipping, and I'm not asking you to do an infomercial, talk about how great we are, whatever it is. What I'd love to know is for Ecom Boss specifically, because you've been working with us for a long time, we do
Mm.
things quite differently. And so, what kind of person do you feel would actually benefit from working with Ecom Boss as opposed to, say, jumping into your standard course, your standard sort of program you see on social media?
I've really been like there are heaps of I've done heaps of courses where there's heaps of coaches. Like there's a coach in the course all the time, right? Um, for me, what I love is right from the get-go, I could message somebody and like within a reasonable time frame. We're still talking within 24 hours. Most of the time it's within a few hours. Like it really felt like I just had access to you guys on tap. Like I needed help, quick, let's go. What do I do here? Um, and that has been the most consistent thing throughout this program. Like I had literally have Emmett on like everyone that's part of this program or whatever, or whoever gets to be lucky enough. But I literally have you and Emmett on like WhatsApp and I will send a question and you guys will respond relatively fast. Like that is amazing to me. I haven't had that sort of level of support in my other programs or the other programs that I've been through. So that's number one. But also, it's just like, I really trust you guys. Like, somebody who is not actually trusting of people and I'm quite controlling, for
Mm.
me to, I just feel really, really supported in this journey because I see you guys and I really believe that you're the real deal. Like, and I've, again, had so many coaches, done so many programs, and some of them you get a test and you're like, oh, like, how much are you really supporting me in this? But, like, one, I have access to you really quickly. Two, like 100% you would like go hard for me. And I feel that support. And that's just been the most amazing thing. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
actually really, really sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
The big thing with us is I hate courses, I hate gurus, and when we talk about we're a coaching program, I view coaching as in like a soccer coach or a personal trainer or somebody who's not just coaching and building a business, but somebody who can coach you through, anything else. Somebody who's hands-on, who's there to support you, who's there to help carry the weight if you need. And when we look at the coaching, we always design it around that. If I could make it so that you're working on your business and you're learning the stuff, and if you need help, you can just call me from the other end of the room and I can come over and help. That's the kind of dynamic that we want.
Yeah.
We want you to know that you have us in our corner versus, hey, listen, we've got some coaching, but you just email this inbox here and we'll get back to you within 2 or 3 business days. Because that's what a lot of these programs are. And that's a one email response, not actually going back and
Mm.
forth. And so hearing that is obviously what we've worked on so hard for so long. And
Yeah. I
so
really
thank you.
do see that. That translates. That really like hits home, honestly. So thank you guys. Like I'd do anything for you.
Oh, you're the best. And you've been so, so great. We've had an absolute blast with you. We've got so much more to do later this year. And again, thank you for so much for taking the time out for this interview and sharing your
Yeah.
story because there's so much good stuff in here that people who are brand new and looking to get started, but also people a bit further ahead can take away from and learn from. So thank you, Joyce.
My absolute pleasure, James. Thank you so much.
Of course. And for those of you who are here at home watching this stuff, if you want to find out more about Ecom Boss, about how you can get started, there's obviously a million videos here on the channel, or you can just click the link below. You can book in a call with myself, my team. We can have a chat and see if it's a good fit for you. But ultimately, let this be a sign that whatever it is you're doing, get started, start working in your business, start getting this thing going because you never know how far it can get you. And as you can see, it can take you a very, very long way. Joyce, you're an absolute superstar. We can't wait to hopefully catch up later in the year with some even cooler results to celebrate. And for
Yeah.
all of you who are at home, have an amazing day and see you on the next one.